Welcome! Today we're going to be sharing with you some of our very best ground beef recipes. These are perfect weeknight family meals.
We have so many that we are going to jump right to it and get into our first recipe right now.
These cheeseburger sliders are surprisingly one of our most popular recipes at the moment. To make these, you're going to stir together your cooked and cooled ground beef, some minced garlic. We just use our garlic from a jar because it saves lots of time that way. Some minced onion, Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. Then in a small bowl, you're going to mix together some mayo, ketchup, and mustard. You're going to take your slider buns and slice them lengthwise and open it up like a book. Then you're going to put the bottom of the buns down in a foil tray. You're going to spread both sides with that mayo mixture. Then you're going to sprinkle the bottom buns with some shredded cheddar or Tex Mex cheese. Spoon that meat mixture right down on top of the cheese. Then you're going to lay out some sliced pickles on top of that. Sprinkle it with more of the cheese, and then you're going to put the lid of the buns back on, and you're gonna brush the tops of those buns with some melted butter. And here's where it gets really good. You're gonna sprinkle this with some everything bagel seasoning. And you're gonna just top that with foil and get it in your freezer. On the day you go to make this, you're gonna thaw it and bake it in the oven for just 10 to 15 minutes. You want that cheese to be melty and ooey gooey good.
These sloppy joes are perfect for a weeknight meal and your kids will love it. We're going to start out with our lean ground beef that's been cooked and cooled. We're going to put that in our large resealable freezer bag. We're going to add in minced onion, minced garlic, finely diced green pepper, some salt and pepper, a bit of dry mustard, chili sauce, tomato sauce, a couple of squeezes of ketchup, some brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon juice. We're going to mix that around together right in the bag. We're going to remove the excess air and seal it up and freeze it. And when you go to cook it, you're going to thaw it, and you can cook this in your slow cooker just on low for a couple of hours or right in a pot on the stove top. And then you're going to want to have some hamburger buns ready and put these on there.
The great thing about this one pot bolognese is, of course, less dishes because it cooks up all in one pot. You're gonna add your browned and cooled ground beef into a large freezer bag. Then you're gonna add in some minced garlic, minced onion, pasta sauce, or you can use our red sauce, diced tomatoes, and chicken broth. You're just gonna squish all of that together in the bag. Get out your excess air so that you don't get freezer burn. Seal it and freeze it. On the day you go to make this, you thaw it. You dump that bag into a large pot and bring the contents to a boil. You're gonna reduce your heat to a simmer, and you're gonna add in some uncooked pasta, and it's gonna cook up right here in the sauce. You're gonna stir it occasionally until that pasta is nice and tender.
Ground beef stroganoff. In your large freezer bag, you're going to add your ground beef. You're going to add some chopped onion, some minced garlic, some sliced mushrooms, Worcestershire sauce, a can of cream of mushroom soup, some sour cream, and parsley and a bit of pepper. You're going to mix it around right in your bag and get out that excess air, seal it, and freeze it. On the day of cooking, you're going to allow it to thaw. You can cook this up right in a skillet on your stovetop. Allow your onions and mushrooms to soften, and before serving, you're going to just stir in another quarter cup to half cup of sour cream. You're going to serve this over cooked egg noodles, or you can stir your egg noodles right into the skillet when the stroganoff has finished heating.
The Thai basil beef skillet is so flavorful. Into your bag, you're gonna put your browned and cooled ground beef, some sliced red pepper, sliced purple onion, some matchstick carrots, minced garlic, some Thai basil leaves, or if you can't find them, you can use regular basil leaves. Ginger, we like to use our ginger from a squeezy tube. Soy sauce, brown sugar, fish sauce, salt, and lime juice. You're gonna squish all of those things together in your bag, take out your air, seal it, and freeze it. On the day you go to make this is so simple. You just thaw it, heat it in a skillet just until it's heated through and those vegetables start to soften. This can be on the table. You can serve it over rice in a matter of 10 minutes.
For this Tex Mex lasagna, in a large bowl, you're going to combine your browned ground beef, taco seasoning, minced onion, some green chilies, some cheddar cheese soup, chunky salsa, and half a cup of cheddar cheese and another half cup of mozzarella cheese. Both have been shredded. We're going to put a very thin layer of the sauce on the bottom of a 9x13 pan and add 1 layer of lasagna noodles. We prefer to use the oven-ready noodles. Lay a third of the sauce and then more noodles, another third of the sauce and more noodles, and then finish with the remaining sauce. Drizzle with 2/3 of a cup of water and then top with the remaining cheeses. You want to lay plastic wrap and then a layer of foil. When you go to cook this, we recommend that you thaw it completely and remove the plastic wrap from under the foil before you cook it. Put the tin foil back on and you can heat this in your oven at 350 for 50 minutes and your family will enjoy this twist on lasagna.
What would a collection of ground beef recipes be without taco meat? This one is a little bit different though. We're gonna put our browned and cooled ground beef into our freezer bag, then we're gonna add some minced onion, taco seasoning, tomato sauce, chili sauce, and some shredded cheddar cheese. You're gonna squish it together, seal it, and then when you go to make this, you thaw it, heat it in your skillet, or you could even heat it in your slow cooker if you prefer. And then once that cheese melts and it warms through, you're gonna serve this in tacos, on taco salad, on nachos, or you can even mix it into pasta.
The Cowboy baked beans are a hit at any potluck I've ever been to. Into your large freezer bag, you're going to add your browned ground beef, your diced onion, diced green pepper, minced garlic, onion powder, bacon that has been cooked and crumbled, brown sugar, lots of baked beans, a bit of barbecue sauce, and some Dijon mustard. We're going to mix that around right in the bag. We're going to remove that excess air, seal it up, and freeze it. On the day you go to cook this, you are going to thaw it. You can bake it in the oven at 350 for 1 hour. You can do it in the slow cooker for 2 to 4 hours. Or you can reheat it on the stovetop until everything is soft and the flavors are melded together. This is great to be served as a main course with some cornbread or as a side dish.
It's so nice to have homemade spaghetti sauce ready to go in your freezer. You're going to add some browned and cooled ground beef into your freezer bag and then some chopped onion, some chopped green pepper, and normally what we do at this point is we actually just add our red sauce, which is from the Freezer Meals 101 Club. You can find the link for that down below. But if you don't want to use red sauce, then at this point you can add some minced garlic, some tomato sauce, some tomato paste, some diced tomatoes, water, bay leaf, parsley, honey, oregano, basil, salt, thyme, and a bit of pepper. Then you're gonna get that all mixed together in your bag, seal it and freeze it. To heat this up, once it's thawed, you're going to cook it in a stovetop pot or in your slow cooker, and of course you're gonna serve this on spaghetti noodles, and you can sprinkle it with some Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes if you like. And the spaghetti is really good if you serve it with our freezer garlic bread.
This one pot taco spaghetti is super good. We are going to start with adding our browned and cooled ground beef into our large freezer bag. We'll add in minced onion, some taco seasoning, a can of Rotel. You can find that in the grocery store with the tomato sauce. And that's it. We're going to seal that up, and in a medium-sized freezer bag, we're going to put our shredded cheddar cheese, and then we're going to staple those two bags together before we freeze it. On the day you go to cook this, you are going to thaw it and then The large bag's contents will go into a large flat bottom skillet, and you can add in 3 cups of water and 8 ounces of uncooked spaghetti noodles. You're going to bring it to a boil over high heat. Once boiling, you can reduce it to low and cover and simmer for 15 minutes. You will want to stir occasionally to prevent it from sticking to the bottom. And once it's fully cooked, you will want to sprinkle with that cheese and stir it in to melt it right into the pasta. What a delicious one-pot meal and less dishes.
For this Southern style ground beef casserole, you're gonna add your browned and cooled ground beef, and then chopped onion, some chopped green pepper, some drained kernel corn, or you can use frozen, tomato sauce, Worcestershire sauce, chili powder, salt, and pepper. You're gonna mix that together in your bag, seal it and freeze it. If you want to, you can also put some shredded cheddar cheese in a medium-sized freezer bag and staple that to the large bag. After this is thawed, you're gonna heat it in a pan or in your slow cooker just until it's heated through because your ground beef was already cooked. And then you can top it with shredded cheese before serving if you like. This is such a nice all-in-one family meal.
Cheeseburger pie has got to be one of the kid-friendliest meals that we have. I will tell you, adults love this one too, and it is really, really fun to eat. You're going to start out with 2 9-inch frozen pie shells. You're going to prick the crusts several times with a fork and then bake them in a 450-degree oven for 5 minutes until golden and then let cool. In a bowl, you're going to mix together your raw ground beef, some eggs that have been slightly beaten, some milk, onions, some breadcrumbs, some mustard, some parsley flakes, Worcestershire sauce, and that's it. We're going to mix that around as if you're going to make a meatloaf or something, and then we're going to divide that mixture evenly between the 2 pie shells and pat them down. On top of each pie, we're going to add some tomato sauce and a bit of shredded cheese, and then we're going to cover each pie with some plastic wrap and then the tin foil. Get that into your freezer. When you go to cook this, you're going to want to thaw it. You want to remove that foil and the plastic wrap, and you want to bake it in your oven at 350 for 45 to 55 minutes until the center is fully cooked. Let set for a few minutes before cutting into 6 to 8 pieces. You can serve this with fries and or a salad.
For our make-ahead Salisbury steak, you're gonna mix together some raw ground beef, panko breadcrumbs, minced garlic, Italian seasoning, a lightly beaten egg, ketchup, Dijon mustard, Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper in a medium bowl. Then you're gonna form these into 4 oval patties. Those should be about 3/4 of an inch thick. And then you're going to cook this in some olive oil over medium-high heat in a skillet for 4 to 5 minutes, flip over, and cook for another 4 to 5 minutes. Then you're gonna place those down in a foil container or a cake pan. In another bowl, you're gonna mix together some mushroom soup, 2 cans, some evaporated milk, pepper, and beef bouillon powder. You're gonna pour this mixture over top of your Salisbury steaks, cover them with foil, and freeze them. When you go to make this, you've got 2 options. You do want to thaw for either option. Take off your foil, and then you can either bake these at 350 for 30 to 40 minutes, or you can reheat the steaks and sauce in a skillet until they're heated through. This one is great served with boiled potatoes, mashed potatoes, or rice.
Cathy's Lazy Rouladen is definitely a family favorite around our house, and I can guarantee you it is because it has dill pickles in it. This recipe starts with lean ground beef that has been browned and cooled. We're going to add in minced onion, some bacon that has been cooked and crumbled. We're going to add in our sliced dill pickles, and that is it. We're going to mix it around right in the bag and get that excess air out, seal it up, and freeze it. When we go to cook this, we're going to allow it to thaw, and you can pop it right into a skillet, and we're going to cook it over medium-high heat for 15 minutes. While you're doing that, you want to take a packet of brown gravy mix, or you could make your gravy from scratch if you prefer. You're going to make that gravy and mix it right into the skillet, and then you're going to serve this with potatoes and enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
This meatloaf with barbecue sauce has a bit of a secret ingredient. You're going to mix together in a bowl some raw ground beef, breadcrumbs, and here's the secret ingredient, some graham wafer crumbs, evaporated milk, minced onion, lightly beaten eggs, salt, pepper, and dry onion soup mix. You're going to place that, once it's mixed, into a large resealable freezer bag, or if you prefer, you could put this right into a loaf pan. Then you're going to mix together in a bowl some ketchup, brown sugar, dry mustard powder, and chili sauce. You're going to place that barbecue sauce mixture into a medium resealable freezer bag. You're going to staple the bags together above the seam and freeze. You thaw this. If it's in a bag, you're gonna place it into your 8x8 square pan or loaf pan, top it with that barbecue sauce, and you're gonna bake this uncovered for 1 hour at 350 and let it set before serving. This goes really nicely with any type of potato and vegetable.
This beef hash is an oldie but a goodie. We've been making it for years. In a large bowl, you're going to add your browned and cooled ground beef. You're going to mix it in with some frozen hash browns, some finely chopped onion, some dry onion soup mix, a cup of beef broth, and a bit of pepper. You're going to mix that around really well and then transfer it into a large freezer bag. And then in a medium-sized freezer bag, you're going to put in some shredded cheddar cheese, remove the excess air from both those bags, seal them up, and staple the bags together above the seal and freeze it. On the day you go to cook this, you want to thaw it, and my preferred way is to put this into a 9x13 casserole dish. You're going to bake it at 350 for 50 minutes, take it out and top it with that shredded cheese, then throw it back into the oven for another 10 minutes or so. Alternatively, you definitely can do this in your crock pot. Again, just the large bag in the crock pot, and add the cheese on for the last 10 or 20 minutes before you serve it.
These meatloaf muffins are especially popular with kids, but they're also great if you live on your own and want to be able to take out just a few meatloaves at a time. You're going to mix together in a bowl some raw lean ground beef, some minced onion, finely chopped green pepper, breadcrumbs, Italian seasoning, barbecue sauce, Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, chili sauce, a lightly beaten egg, parsley, salt, and pepper. You're going to grease your muffin tray, and once that mixture is good and mixed, you're going to place it into your muffin tray and bake that in your oven. Once those meatloaf muffins are completely cool, you're going to place them into a large resealable freezer bag, get your air out, seal it, and freeze it. Now, these are fully cooked and all done already, so when the craving for meatloaf strikes, you can just take out as many as you need and reheat it in the microwave or the oven.
This beef and corn casserole feeds a crowd. In your large resealable freezer bag, you're going to add your browned and cooled ground beef with some chopped onion, some kernel corn, either frozen or from a can that's been drained. You're going to add in some tomato soup and some ketchup, a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, and that is it. We're going to mix it around right in the bag and seal it up and freeze it. On the day you go to cook this, you are going to thaw it, and you are going to cook up 2 cups of pasta. You will drain it and mix the cooked pasta together with the contents of the large bag in a casserole dish. You're going to top it with the cheese and then bake it at 350 covered for 35 minutes. This is a wonderful meal for a large group.
For the Korean ground beef rice bowl, you're going to add your browned and cooled ground beef to a large freezer bag. Then you're going to add some minced garlic, minced ginger, again just from that squeezy tube, some low sodium soy sauce, honey, sesame oil, and red pepper flakes. Squish that together in the bag, get out your air, seal it, freeze it. For this one, you're going to just empty the thawed contents into a skillet. Before you turn the heat on, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and whisk this together into your meal. It's important that it is cold when you whisk that in or it won't combine well. You're gonna serve this one over rice, and if you want, you can sprinkle it with green onions that are sliced and sesame seeds.
For these beef and bean burritos, you're going to start out with your cooked and cooled ground beef, and you're gonna mix in a bit of taco seasoning with it, just right in a bowl. And then you're gonna take your flour tortillas, we like the burrito size, which is the little bit larger size, and you're going to spread a couple of tablespoons of refried beans right in the center of the tortilla. You're going to add 3 tablespoons of the beef mix. You can add in some peppers and onions. If you would like to, you can add cheese at this point, and then we are going to wrap this in a burrito style really tightly and wrap each one individually in tin foil. You can place these burritos into large resealable freezer bags and freeze them. When you go to cook them, it is nicer to allow them to thaw first. They'll heat more evenly. You can remove the foil and you can cook them in the microwave, wrap them up in a moist paper towel and they'll stay nice and moist. Or you can do them in the foil, right in the oven, bake them at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, which is nice to do when you have a crowd and you need to feed a bunch of people burritos. But you can also do these in the air fryer. You can serve these with some shredded lettuce, some diced tomatoes, some diced onions, some diced green onions, sour cream, salsa, guacamole, shredded cheese of your choice, some hot sauce, some rice, and some corn. If you can dream it, it can go on the burrito.
For our hamburger hoobie soup, you're going to add your browned and cooled ground beef into your freezer bag, diced onion, some peeled and chopped carrots. You can also add some celery, but I'm allergic, so we didn't add, so I don't think we added it to ours. Some diced tomatoes, condensed tomato soup, barley, a bay leaf, some parsley, thyme, and pepper. You're gonna get that all mixed together, take out your air, seal it, freeze it. For serving this one, once it's thawed, you can put it into a stovetop pot. You could also do this one in the slow cooker. You're going to want to add 2 cups of water and 3 cups of beef broth to this. The reason we didn't add it before is because we don't want our freezer bag to be too full and take up too much space in the freezer. Because this is a soup, it actually is better if those flavors meld, so being able to cook it longer actually makes it taste better.
Hamburger pasta casserole is a great one to have that is a full meal that you don't have to really do anything else to it on the day that you go to cook this, because you're going to pre-cook your pasta. You're going to make sure that you undercook it by 1 or 2 minutes according to the package directions. You're going to drain it and get it into a bowl. And in this video, you can see that we started out with it in a bag and it wasn't gonna mix nicely. So we're gonna just suggest that you get it right into a bowl and start there. You can add in your ground beef that has been browned and cooled. You're going to add in diced onion, some minced garlic, some mixed frozen vegetables of your choice. You're going to add in pasta sauce or red sauce if you have some. You're going to add in tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, oregano, basil, and salt and pepper to taste. In a medium-sized freezer bag, you're going to add some shredded mozzarella and some shredded cheddar. Staple those bags together and freeze them. On the day you go to cook this, you're going to allow everything to thaw. You're going to take the contents of the large freezer bag, spread it out into a casserole dish, and then top it with the shredded cheese. Bake at 400 for 15 to 18 minutes until heated through and the cheese is melted.
It's so nice to be able to have dinner that quickly.
Yes, it is.
For our curried ground beef, you're gonna add your cooked and cooled ground beef, minced onion, minced garlic, Madras curry paste, cinnamon, turmeric, minced ginger from the squeezy tube, diced tomatoes, peeled and diced carrots, frozen peas, salt and pepper to a large freezer bag. Squish it all together, get out your air, seal it, and freeze it. This one is our little guy's favorite meal at the moment. So you're going to get that thawed and just heat it in a skillet until it's bubbling, or you can do this one in a slow cooker. You'll want to serve this with rice or with naan.
This garden taco rice has been around the club forever, and boy is it one of our favorites. In our freezer bag, we're going to add our ground beef that has been browned, some chopped onion, some taco seasoning, a bit of chili powder, cubed or thinly sliced zucchini, and 3 cups of cooked rice that has been cooked and cooled already, a bit of corn and some green chilies, and diced tomatoes. We're going to mix this around right in our bag, and then in a medium-sized bag, we're going to add some cheddar cheese that has been shredded. We're going to staple those together and freeze them. On the day of cooking, you want to thaw them and empty the contents of the large bag right into a large skillet. Heat it on medium-high heat until it's heated through, which will take about 10 minutes, topped with your shredded cheese, and let that melt before serving. Again, a wonderful dish that is a full meal all in one bag. Well, 2 bags.
I know that most people already have a chili recipe that they love, but I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna give this one a try. It is the best. It's actually called the best freezer chili. You're going to mix together in your bag some browned and cooled ground beef, diced onion, minced garlic, kidney beans, chili style beans, diced tomatoes, tomato paste, chili powder, cumin, paprika, pepper, and my secret ingredient, maple syrup. That's because we're Canadian. Then you're going to get your air out of the bag, seal it, get it in your freezer, and for this, once it's thawed, you can heat it in your slow cooker or in a stovetop pot. Again, this one is like the soup. You do want to kind of do low and slow so that those flavors can melt. This one is delicious, served in popovers, with buns, with cornbread, just on its own. I guess you could put it on a chili dog. It's just good chili.
This Spanish rice is simple to put together, and it starts with our ground beef that has been browned and cooled. We're going to add it into our large freezer bag. We're going to add also some minced garlic, some pasta sauce, or you can add red sauce. We prefer to if we have some. We're going to add in 2 cups of rice that has been cooked and cooled. We're going to add in diced onion, some green pepper, some black olives, and that's it. We're going to mix it around and seal that up. Then we're going to put 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese into a medium-sized bag and staple those bags together. Now we want to recommend that you actually make 2 of these because you are only going to use half of your black olives can. It's even just the littlest can, and we're using half. So you should double this one. It does double really nicely. When you go to cook this, it couldn't be simpler. You are going to thaw it, you are going to put it in a casserole dish and top it with the cheese and bake it.
For these beef taquitos, you're gonna mix together some cooked and cooled ground beef, salsa, taco seasoning, and cheddar cheese in a bowl. Then you're gonna take that beef mixture and spread it onto a flour tortilla and roll it up. You're just gonna repeat that until all your filling is gone. We've found that this makes about 8 taquitos. Then you're gonna put your taquitos on a parchment paper lined baking sheet and you're gonna freeze them in a single layer. Once they're frozen, you can transfer them to your large freezer bag. You do that so that they don't stick together. This way, you can take out all of them or just one at a time, because this is one that you can either bake on a baking sheet in the oven or you can cook them in the air fryer.
This spaghetti pie recipe is as fun to make as it is to eat. We start out with our spaghetti. We need about 3 ounces, which if you're a Canadian, if you hold it in your hand, that's about the size of a loonie in your fist. We're going to cook it according to package directions and drain it. We're going to mix it with some butter and Parmesan cheese and a bit of beaten egg. We're going to Then take the noodle mixture and press it down into a pie plate, making a quote-unquote spaghetti pie crust. Then we're going to take some of our ground beef that we have cooked and cooled. We're going to put it in a bowl and add some chopped onions, some minced garlic, and some tomato sauce with oregano, basil, parsley, and salt and pepper. Once we have that mixed together, we're going to top the pie crust with the meat sauce. Then we're going to sprinkle some grated mozzarella cheese over top, and then we are going to cover this with some plastic wrap and some tin foil and get it into our freezer. On the day you go to cook this, you are going to take it out and allow it to thaw, remove your foil, remove your plastic wrap, get it into your oven at 350 for 15 minutes, let it set, cut it into wedges, and serve. I promise you, your kids are going to get such a kick out of this one.
Our cheeseburger quesadillas are pretty much as popular as those cheeseburger sliders I was telling you about at the beginning of this video. You're gonna take your flour tortillas. These are a great one to make on the same day as you make those beef taquitos because they use a lot of the same ingredients. You're gonna sprinkle them with some shredded cheddar cheese and some cooked and cooled ground beef. Then you're gonna add a bit of pickled relish. Fold over the other half of the tortilla, lay these on a parchment covered baking sheet and get those frozen in a single layer. Then when they're fully frozen, you're gonna transfer them to the large freezer bags just like you did with the taquitos. When you feel like eating a quesadilla, you can take out as many as you want from that freezer bag and reseal it. You're gonna heat this in a large skillet, flipping over once, or you can heat them on a baking sheet or even in the air fryer. If you want, you can mix together a bit of mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard to dip this in. You can find the links to these recipes in the description below.
The tater tot casserole with beef and veggies. In a large bowl, we're going to mix together some frozen tater tots, some ground beef that has been cooked and cooled. We're going to stir in some diced onion, frozen mixed vegetables, cream of mushroom soup, some evaporated milk, minced garlic, dry mustard powder, and salt and pepper to taste. Once that is all mixed together, you are going to transfer that into a large freezer bag and get that sealed. We're going to add some shredded cheese to a medium freezer bag and staple them together before freezing. When you go to cook this, get it into your crock pot and top it with the cheese and enjoy.
I hope this has given you some great ideas for some make-ahead meals using ground beef. If you happen to find ground beef on sale, the best thing that you can possibly do is go into the Freezer Meals 101 Club, click on that ground beef tab. That will populate all of our ground beef recipes. There's about double in there what we shared with you today. And you can then choose the ones you want, click on your little button to print off your full shopping list and your prep list, and you'll also want to go and print those labels that have the cooking instructions and date on them, and then your freezer will be stacked with all kinds of wonderful family-friendly meals.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Happy cooking!